who's said to have set Parliament alight appears to be deepening. Zandile Christmas Mafe has been accused of that act and will appear in court next week. He's facing charges including arson, and these, of course, are 5 charges. And there's a lot, in fact, that is being said about who he is and if indeed he's guilty of the crime that he's being accused of. His lawyer says his client is innocent. Let's speak to his lawyer now, Luvuyo Godla. Godla, good evening to you, and thank you so much for your time. Now, we know that according to the Law Society, you have to take up pro bono work. But I wonder, what about this matter when you received the phone call from Mafe? I wonder what about it made you convinced that this is a matter that you'd like to rally behind because you believe that he's innocent?
Yes, good evening. Good evening to your listeners as well. Thanks for having me. When I received a call, I knew as a matter of fact that before I become an attorney and make money, I'm a member of a family and I'm a member of a community. And I have many things similar or in common when I look at the circumstances of Mr. Mafe. So it was very easy for me, more than it is a requirement by our regulating body to take matters on contingency. But at the very same time, as a member of a society who has got many things in common with Mr. Mafe, I took up the matter.
And would you say those were the only factors that convinced you that the wrong man has been arrested?
Not only that, that one, it was my decision, informed decision to represent him. Even if he was guilty, I was believed that he is guilty. I would still come and defend him in order to protect his constitutional rights so that the due process can be followed. But the reason why I believe he is not guilty in this instance, one, he does not have any business with Parliament. He does not have any business with documents of the Parliament. He did not even have insight of what is contained in those documents. And he did not have information in his possession. He could not have that information either, that at this particular minute, there won't be members of security cluster, there won't be alarms on, there won't be cameras on, the sprinklers will not be coordinated as initially done with smoke detectors. That information, he could not have known that information other than the person who is inside.
Now, Datu Godla, one of the things that we saw in the public domain, and they continue to be various versions of who he is. Some are calling him Herbert Khoshi Rammu, a former special ops with extensive training in combat and explosives, while others are saying it is Zandile Christmas Mafe, who they know as a neighbor, and the family saying that he's one of their own. I wonder, what is his real name? And what do you know of him? Could these assertions or suggestions that he's an ex-combatant linked, some are linking him to Russia and China, be true?
Members of the Hawks visited his home, fortunately, and today, and they were at his home in Lonely Park in Mafikeng in 15 minutes ago. They were there, and they spoke with a family member. His name is Zandile, and they spoke with Zandisile there, and everything was confirmed. They wanted to see as well the death certificates of the parents, also identification, if possible, of the parents, and they conducted the interview. It has since been confirmed the identity is not an issue. And more than that, if the identity was an issue, it's a matter that the state could have picked up and based their request for further remand on. But it was not an issue.
Listening to what you're saying then, I wonder, because one of the things that you said outside court is that you hadn't seen the footage, nor had you seen the charge sheet. Have you caught sight of any of the two?
Till now, we have not been placed in possession of that. And remember, my dear sister, when you arrest someone, the Constitution says you must bring a person, an accused person, within 48 hours to court. Coupled with that, you need to tell the person what are the charges against him or her, so that that particular person can prepare his or her adequate defense. But that has not been the case with Mr. Mafe. Up until now, we have not seen video footages, and no one has seen these video footages. And we have not been placed in possession. They don't exist. I doubt if they do exist. If I can even take it further, pushing further your question, to profile a person after arrest, we have technology now. It takes hardly 5 minutes. You use technology to profile a person and you know who are you dealing with. That has not been done. Even now, today is Thursday. The person was arrested on Sunday, but he has not yet been profiled up until to date.
Listening to this, should, let's say hypothetically speaking, the case against him is dropped. I'm listening to what you're alluding to now, the 48 hours without seeing the charge sheet, without seeing the footage, without him being properly profiled. Could we see, should this matter against him be dropped, could we see you pursuing legal action?
We will definitely pursue legal action. And it's our stance as well. This is what we wanted to raise in court, that here there is no fairness in this whole process, because a person before court must know what are the charges against him, which we have not seen. And if this matter is dropped, surely we will pick up and we will pursue a civil claim against those responsible for arresting of Mr. Mafe.
I wonder,
Mr. Mafe, if I beg your pardon. I
wonder, Tatu Godla, who do you think then, because you believe in your client's innocence, who do you think is behind possibly, these, maybe if I can even use this word, framing him? Because you say that he's innocent and he has nothing to do with what they're accusing him of. Who do you think could be behind this?
You know, in this case, my dear sister, I wouldn't say someone is framing him, because you would be framing someone if you have a vendetta against that particular person. There could be many reasons that might motivate one to do that. But in this case, we see rich people, or those who have resources, using poor person as a shield to cover up for their mess. Because here there is no way that Mr. Mafe would have any interest in Parliament, in documents of Parliament. There is no way. It's someone who has got a mission, someone who has got a certain goal, that is now coming up and using Mr. Mafe as a shield.
All right.
Not him.
Tatu Godla, we'll continue talking to you as this case unfolds, but thank you so much for your time, because I do understand as well that you cannot discuss the merits of the case because they've not been tabled in court. But thank you so much for availing yourself. That was Zandile Christmas Mafe's attorney, Luvuyo Godla, talking to us about that fire there in Parliament. And this is a fire, of course, that has got a lot of people talking. Zandile Christmas Mafe is behind bars, and he's been accused of this, and is expected to appear in court next week, and of course to apply for bail. And his attorney there saying that he doesn't even believe that these charges will stick. But you heard that there could be possible legal action that might be taken should the charges against Mr. Mafe then be dropped. But let's continue to another